I've been on vacation in Transylvania. Well, not really a vacation because it's school related, but I am an anthropology student at Ohio Valley University, situated in Marietta, Ohio. My name is Veronica Baste. Forgive me for the deep voice. I've been fighting off a cold. We came to Sibiu in the Transylvania region of Romania to study its archaeological and anthropological past. This place is steeped in medieval lore and history, and fortunately for us, we found the Silver Valley Castle tucked deep in the forest overlooking a cliff face. When we saw the castle from the side, it looked like some of the earth which supported the castle had fallen away. It looked breathtaking, honestly, but little did we know that a vampire actually still occupied the castle, and it trapped us there.
Welcome to this Lost Tapes episode where we dig into the puzzling disappearance of Veronica Baste. On October 21st, 2023, Veronica and her three friends, Amber, Nicole, and Brandon, were reported missing. Their last known whereabouts was the verdant Shadowwood Forest, west of their hotel, Shadowwood Lodge and Retreat. At the western edge of Shadowwood Forest was Silver Valley Castle, a place left in ruin once it had been abandoned by Dracomir family dynasty. This place had become a legend spoken only by locals, and even then, the name of the castle was carried only by whispers. Veronica had heard of this place while unintentionally eavesdropping on two locals discussing the sudden disappearance of two men, and that they were probably now in the clutches of Draven Dracomir, the last heir to the throne of the castle.
So, we approached the castle. It was huge and tucked behind a chest-high cobblestone wall. There were 7 spiked columns, and when we passed through the gates and began to approach the main door, I had this sense that eyes were watching us. The walls of the castle were mostly still intact, and green moss snaked up them in between the cracks of the stones. Grass and weeds had claimed the stone pathway we walked upon, and a mixture of earth and ocean captivated our senses. As we approached the front door, I noticed the cobwebs and their occupants. Brandon stayed close to me while my other two friends, Amber and Nicole, they whined. They wanted to turn back, but we can't. When's the next time we're going to see a real castle? We opened the doors of the castle, and standing at the center of the entrance hall was a stone gargoyle statue. We took a few selfies with it, and then the door shut. All four of us, we tried to pry the door open, but the doors wouldn't budge. I don't know what happened, but now we're trapped.
Veronica's mother, Rachel, spearheaded the movement for the search and discovery of her daughter and her three friends. Ohio Valley University issued a statement with regard to the missing students. It read, "It is with heavy hearts that we acknowledge the disappearance of 4 of our beloved students. We are working tirelessly with the Romanian government to ensure the safe discovery and return of our students. We sincerely apologize for the heartache this situation has caused, and we give our sympathies to the families involved. We hope for an expedited return from Romania, and will keep them in our prayers."
We have spent the last hour trying to open this stupid door. A freaking hour, and the thing just won't open. I know this castle is old and the door hinges are incredibly rusty, but it did make sense that they opened with such ease, yet now they won't budge. Anyway, we split up and ventured off the main entrance hall. Since we have our cell phones, we don't have to really worry about getting lost, and realistically, all we need to do is find a window and jump out of it. This castle, it's tall, but the floor we're on, it's not even off ground level. I passed through a doorway to my left and found myself in a cobblestone hall, which smelled like mold and earth. Cobwebs clung to the corner, and slivers of sunlight passed through the rectangular 4-inch holes in the wall. I looked out of one of them and took into account I was on the side of the castle hanging over the edge. The ocean lapped against the cliffside. Though I could see the water, I couldn't hear it. With heavy steps, I walked farther down the stone hallway until I reached the door at the other end. I opened it, and inside was a small chamber, a small bed to the left, and a few broken boxes to my right, and that's all I could see. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I removed it, and there was a text from Nicole. It read, "Someone is here with us. I saw him take Amber."
Romanian authorities surveyed a 2-mile radius surrounding the Shadowwood Forest and found little more than animal bones. Students from the Ohio Valley University protested outside their dorm rooms, demanding the Romanian government do more to find the 4 lost students. Romanian officials did not provide a response as they did not know about the students' protest. Rachel continued her pursuit for justice and drafted a letter for the local Romanian authorities. They did not read it, as a translator was not present. As days became weeks, the search for the 4 university students was abandoned, and they fell into the mythology which encapsulates Silver Valley Castle and Shadowwood Forest.
I don't know at what point the sun set, but it was becoming dark outside. I walked down the hallway to leave and regroup with the others, but when I passed through the doorway, I found myself in a library. This is impossible. I called Brandon and asked about his location, and he found himself in a different room than what he expected. Somehow, when he tried to leave the hallway he was in, he wound up in a Gothic-style bedroom, and Nicole, well, she wasn't responding to my text messages. I called her, but her phone just rang and rang. I tried to call Amber, too. Same outcome. I called Brandon, and he said he left the bedroom and found himself in another hall. I stood here waiting, and as I waited, I studied the bookcase, the vast desk before me, and the dust which clung to their surfaces. This room looks ancient, untouched, and this struck me because the dust on the floor was getting disturbed by something I couldn't see. I saw footprints form in the shape of dress shoes, and then I heard the footsteps. Something is here with me.
January 12, 2023, a report had been made that Veronica was seen in Shadowwood Forest, standing idle outside the castle walls. A hiker, the very same man who turned in this lost tape, captured footage of Veronica leaving the castle and then standing still as stone for 4 hours. Forensic investigators of Ohio investigated the video footage and could not tell if she were breathing, and concluded that someone was impersonating Veronica and perpetuating an elaborate hoax, though they acknowledged the sick nature of the hoax. They did nothing more with the investigation of those 4 students who disappeared. Rachel, Veronica's mother, hailed the video as evidence that her daughter was still alive and that she was drugged and held captive in the location of the recording.
I stood in the library and stepped backwards, away from the footprints that were showing up on the floor, and I didn't realize my back was already at the edge of the bookcase. A subtle wind, crisp and sharp, cascaded over me as each lantern that I didn't even realize were there were extinguished. As my hair stood on end and my breath became shallow, I tried to speak. Words remained tied in my throat, and then fear. Sweat beaded across my hairline and traced down my temple as I watched the footsteps draw closer, and then a shadow manifested across the floor. Its origin, I don't know. I couldn't see anything. I sucked down a deep breath as I gasped, because two hands emerged from the shadows as though they were climbing up a cliffside, and I saw the face of a pale man glaring at me. He had black hair, and it was slick and combed back, and it seemed to stop at his earlobes. He tilted his head from side to side and then blinked shut. I too, for reasons I can't explain, I also blinked shut, and once my eyes opened, the man stood in front of me. My teeth chattered as the air around me bit at my skin. The room appeared to shrink as the man before me towered over me. He wore a long black trench coat, darker than any knight I've ever seen, and his cheekbones were pronounced. Bulbous, bloodshot eyes, and at their center, red irises encircling a gray pupil. They bore into me. As my heart raced and time stood still, his parched lips curved upward. He smiled, and I took a deep breath in. My eyes, now dry, because I refused to do so much as blink, remained locked on him. He stepped away from me in a singular fluid motion, and then receded into the shadows of the night. The moon cast its silver sheen through the window and on this man. As he sat, half of his face was illuminated by the moon and the other half concealed by darkness, with the exception of his red eyes. A thin skeletal hand reached from the black shadows. His nails were thin and pointed. His hands were void of muscle and resembled something like flesh draped over bone, and he invited me to sit with him. A smile crossed his face then, and two fangs surfaced against the edge of his bottom lip. Blue veins webbed across his face, and his skin seemed paper thin and white. Encircling his red eyes were black pits. Though my stomach lurched away from him and my skin crawled and the air felt cold, I crossed the library and sat beside him. My attention, curiosity, wonder, and sense of control had been arrested from me, and now I knew what was to come next. Captivated by his spell, I moaned as he brushed my bangs behind my ears with his bony fingers. I struggled to manage my breathing, and then I felt the pulse in my neck. His eyes shifted from my hair to my own eyes, and then to my neck. Caught in the throes of his embrace, embroiled in the turbulence of desire and fear's dance, I longed to leave but wanted to stay. The terror of his image and the hunger for his embrace, the turmoil of what's right in this tainted spell. I turned my head back and revealed my neck to him. My jugular pulsed. I begged for him to take me, but also to release me. I screamed in terror at the back of my mind while simultaneously asking how I was so lucky. Once my eyes closed, I waited for his bite. He whispered the words, "Too easy," and then, as the room's chill faded and the subdued part of myself rushed into the forefront of my mind and his spell dissipated, I screamed. My eyes peeled open, and there I sat on the couch, alone, by myself, quivering, afraid, locked in fear. "Mom, I am recording this lost tape because this vampire is just playing a game with me. And it's a game I know I cannot win."